everyone, how's it going? And welcome to today's Wild Rift video. I told you I had some other gameplay up my sleeve. That's not just AD carries. I also have some other gameplay as well from other roles and other champions. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at one of the strongest and most insane champions in the game. And of course, we have to talk about ZOE. I think mages in general this patch are incredibly powerful. Even after the hotfix that happened, the nerf that happened to both Infinity Orb and Horizon Focus, these mages are just dominating the Rift right now. And I'm not going to be surprised if they are the strongest class right now in the game. You know, going for boots like Boots of Mana, which are such incredibly powerful boots, a lot of ability power, the mana regeneration is there, and you also have flat magic penetration in the early game, making it really, really nice. Lunar's Echo is still your best first item for most mages like ZOE, just because of the stats that it gives, and also the Distorted Echo passive means that you can help wave clear and help deal that little bit of extra burst damage. Now, as the second full item, you have a choice between now Death Cap and Infinity Orb. Before the Infinity Orb nerf, you would definitely go for Infinity Orb as a second item, but if you want to, you can also go for Death Cap as the second item. Now, since these two both cost the same amount of gold, you are going to be getting the same ability power, 90 ability power. They both also give you 7% magic pen, and again, as I mentioned, they both cost now the same amount of gold. So it's really, if you prefer the extra flat magic pen, the movement speed, and being able to critically strike champions that were low on health, or you want to try and get the increased ability power as soon as possible. But either way, you will be building both these items anyway. They're both really strong. Death Cap because of the insane amount of extra ability power you get, and as I mentioned with Infinity Orb, being able to critically strike champions below 45% is just very, very powerful. Horizon Focus, again, even after the nerf and you only being able to do 9% extra damage with this item now, again, still very powerful, still a core item to go for ZOE, just because you're able to use your abilities from so far away. You know, abilities like your bubble and even your first ability, meaning that you can proc Horizon Focus most of the time. And then you have a more defensive item, but again, an item that still gives you a lot of great stats, Crown of Shattered Queen, to give you that little bit of a safeguard passive. And that safeguard passive gives you a shield, meaning that if you do jump in with your ultimate, and if you do get caught by any crowd control, that safeguard passive, that spell shield, will be able to help you out, keep yourself alive a little bit longer. But again, you have a few other situational items that you can go. You can go for items like Morellonomicon or even Trident as well. If you need the anti-shielding or anti-healing, you can go for either one of these two items as well. For the runes, First Strike, some people like to run Arcane Comet on ZOE. I still think First Strike is just suited so well for ZOE. The true damage, the extra gold that you get as well during the laning phase. You know, all you have to do is just hit a bubble, and then you're able to deal the extra damage with your first ability. It just synergizes so well with ZOE's kit and the way that she works. So I think you still want to go for First Strike. As for the other runes, you want to go for the Inspiration Tree, Sweet Tooth as the first rune. You don't want to go for Hex Flash, because Hex Flash has currently got a weird bug with ZOE's second ability, where Hex Flash is always going to be on your second ability, so it's very hard to pick up other summon spells. So you want to go for Sweet Tooth instead. Transcendence to give you more ability haste, so you can use your abilities more often. And then Nimbus Cloak, so we get some extra movement speed when using our summon spells. With our secondary ability, or secondary rune I should say, being Bone Plating, just to help us survive during the laning phase, and also help us survive against any combo damage that might be coming our way. And as for the summer spells, we will be going for Flash and Ignite. Ignite to get that extra bit of kill pressure, whether it's you jumping in and doing a bunch of burst damage, or even during the laning phase as well. But in this gameplay, I played this game off stream, so I'm going to be doing a full rundown of the gameplay. I'm going to be talking over the game, talking about my experiences with ZOE, what I think about ZOE, and also the gameplay as well, giving you some tips and tricks along the way. It's not a live gameplay, it's going to be me voicing over, which I know some of you want me to do more of. So that is exactly what we're going to do in today's gameplay. So I'll see you all very, very soon. All right, here we go. On to the gameplay with ZOE. One of my favorite mid laners to play. I think definitely up there with Syndra as well. Syndra is also a great mid laner to play, a very fun mid laner to play as well. These champions, as I mentioned, these mages are just so crazily strong right now. You're going to see me actually making a bit of a mistake here. As you can see, I'm in a, yeah, I'm in a bit of a difficult spot, and I actually die. That is a mistake that I sometimes make, and sometimes it is kind of difficult to actually predict. I mean, I did not think that their bot lane would be in this little bush next to where Syndra was. Normally, I like to do that where I can actually use first strike and use the extra advantage I have in the early game to try and get a bit of a HP lead in the early game, which means I can maybe look at trying to get an advantage in lane and trying to get a lane priority. For some reason, the Jhin and the support just read me like a book. I don't know if they know me and they know that I always do it in mid lane, but I always do that same thing, and 90% of the time it works. But in this instance, it didn't work. I promise you that that's probably the only mistake I'm going to be making in this game. You can see I am running Hex Flash because I had a thought that Hex Flash would actually be really, really good on ZOE because it will just help you just flash more often and everything. But when you actually play ZOE with Hex Flash, you'll realize a bit later on in this gameplay as well that there is currently a bug with ZOE and Hex Flash where if you have your second ability, the Hex Flash will always be on your second ability. So when you're going around trying to pick up other summon spells during fights, it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I'm a bit behind the lane phase, unfortunately. So you can see here what I'm doing at the moment is just trying to use my abilities to poke out the Syndra. Syndra does have Arcane Comet, which means that she's going to be scaling a bit, you know, trying to hit Arcane Comet. So I'm trying my best to try and dodge the Arcane Comet, little orbs that come our way. And especially with her orbs as well, it can also be really, really annoying to try and deal with. But for now, we are just trying to play kind of safe, really, since we do have a bit of a disadvantage early on. You can see I'm just walking up trying to last hit minions and also trying to dodge all of her abilities as well, which can be very difficult with Syndra. I mean, I played Syndra enough to know how annoying this champion can be. But that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just trying to farm the minions and get as much farm as possible. And if I can get all this farm, then I'll be happy. But I'm just getting hit by every single Arcane Comet at the moment. You see Syndra's going to go a little bit too deep here and just go way too far, where, you know, you can't really do too much. Talon's going to jump on her and get a kill. So you see that it's not actually too bad sometimes if you want the lane to be pushed underneath your tower, because if the enemy jungler sees it, or if your jungler, sorry, sees it, then you're able to take it and as an advantage, because they're going to be pushing the lane underneath the tower. You're going to be under tower, which most of the time you're going to be safe. And then the jungler can look to roam around to mid lane and try and get a gank off. So you don't always need a lane priority, which is kind of what I try and get at the start of every single game, where I get a lane priority, which means that I can look to be the first person to try and roam around to try and help junglers or help other lanes. But sometimes playing passive like that is not a bad thing. I think that's why champions like Kassadin and Vladimir and champions like that work really well in the mid lane, because these are champions that are never going to get lane priority because they're just not very strong in the early game. So most of the time you are just going to be playing underneath your tower and waiting for ganks from your jungler, which is exactly what I did. So now Syndra's trying to roam to the bot lane. I'm not going to be able to get to bot lane in time, so I'm actually using this opportunity to be able to push the mid lane as quick as possible, trying to get through platings, which also means I can try and get a little bit of extra gold as well into my back pocket, which you can see is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm looking at my mini map the whole time as well as I'm doing this, and I can see that Syndra is on her way back up there. You can see there. So I'm just going to get this one more tower plating, and then I can escape away to safety. I missed the bubble, unfortunately. I can still trade here quite easily. You know, Syndra doesn't really have anything, and also the Talon is there to help me out as well, which, as you can see, this Talon champion is just so disgustingly broken. Like, it's crazy. Gonna pick up another flash, gonna pick up another flash here, and just keep flashing and flashing over and over again, waiting for the bubble to expire. Unfortunately, I missed my Q. The Talon is here again, just to do a bit of extra damage, and there you go. There's a double kill. Like, this champion just being able to pick up summoner spells in a game like Wild Rift that's so fast paced, so quick, like all the movement, all the abilities and everything are just so fast. It makes it so much fun to play. So much fun and so great to play as well. And then I'm going to try and go back to base now. I probably should have gone back to base a little bit earlier, because now Syndra's going to push this lane. I might lose a bit of minions here. But I prioritize trying to get the tower platings mid lane so I can go back and get my Ludens. So I have Ludens, plus I have Boots of Mana for this first dragon, which is going to be really, really nice for me. Trying to get a bit of a pick here. I think I actually kill her. Yeah. I did. This is one item with Zoe, by the way. That was one item. I mean, I basically 100 to 0 her with just my EQ. Basically. I mean, she was what? Like 3/4 HP, over 3/4 HP. It was absolutely crazy how much damage I was able to do there. So now I'm going to try and roam because I know that the jungler is dead. I make a bit of a mistake here. I actually miss my Q. But I mean, Talon is a broken champion anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Take the Olaf with my stasis that I picked up just a second ago, and then Talon can get another few extra kills. Yeah, I made a mistake. I should have actually tried to land my third ability first before I use my Q. I tried to use my Q to just deal a little bit of extra damage. Trying to catch out the Syndra here as well, because I know the Syndra is somewhere. Trying to ulti and Hex Flash. I mean, that's where Hex Flash can actually come in handy in a situation like that, where you can use Hex Flash to get away from Syndra's abilities, which is quite nice. Yeah, like, yeah, you can see how annoying Talon is as well. I mean, I talk about mid laners, I talk about mages being incredibly strong, and then there's Talon, then there's Kha'Zix, then there's Kindred. And I think to myself, yeah, maybe it's just the game is just very broken right now, which it might be the case. I think there's just a lot of champions that can one shot and a lot of champions that do a lot of damage at the moment, which just makes it really annoying to play against. Very, very annoying to play against. I'm going to use my pink ward here just to make sure I'm not back in on any vision. I'm going to go back to base, pick up the components for Infinity Orb. Another way in which you can build Zoe is building the Prophet's Pendant, which gives you the flat magic pen, and then build into Death Cap. There is also another option that you can do with Death Cap, and also just the item build in general for Zoe. In this game, I just went straight for Infinity Orb because it looks cool, you know, to deal crit damage that's super low on HP. You know, it's really, really cool to be able to get that little bit of extra crit damage. But again, as I mentioned, you have an option of which one you want to go for. Tried to hit the bubble here on the Jhin, but it's a little bit difficult. By the way, that Jhin skin is so good. Love that Jhin skin. You can see I don't even need to land my first ability and I still do a lot of damage. So it's like I just proc first strike and I just do a lot of damage already, which is already very, very nice. Trying to do an extra bit of damage here, trying to land the bubble, but unfortunately nothing can hit. You do have to be very careful with Zoe though when you do land your bubble, because sometimes you can land your bubble and then you can also just get caught at the same time. You use your ultimate to jump forward, and every single time you use your ultimate to jump forward, the enemy team are going to know the position that you're going to jump back to. So if they can close the gap and do a lot of damage, then it's going to be very difficult. And the bubble here onto Nami. Nami is just dead. See you later. I use the locket to get the extra bit of movement speeds. You see here, I'm kind of just waiting for my cooldowns. That's all I'm waiting for at the moment. Wait for my cooldowns. Boom, jump back in. Another kill there. Use my flash to go in. Use my ignite on the Olaf as well. Another kill for me again. And this is unfortunately where the bug happens, because I thought I had flash again, but I didn't, because I was trying to do it here, and then yeah, I was trying to use the flash here, but as you can see, like the Hex Flash has taken over my second ability, which I'm not too sure how this bug actually happens. But now the Hex Flash is permanently on my second ability. Now every single time I want to pick up a summoner spell, I have to wait a few seconds to pick it up, and that's why I said don't go Hex Flash, because of this bug, and I don't know how the bug works or how it even happens. Just don't. There's no point. There's no point at all. So yeah, you're gonna constantly see that I'm gonna have to flash up here, but I actually don't have flash. I just have Hex Flash. But then Hex Flash is pointless anyway, because I want to pick up other summoner spells. So I have a flash down here, which gives me a cooldown. But this cooldown was supposed to be the Hex Flash instead of this being Hex Flash. It's probably a way of like you using flash when you have a flash already available. I think that's what it is. I think what it is and how the bug happens is you use flash, or use your second ability's flash, sorry, when you have a flash available. I think that's what it is. Cheeky kill there onto the Vayne. Nice little double kill. I think that's the way it works, and that's why it's happened. I can use Locket there, which is quite nice. I can pick up Locket and use Locket there, which is quite good. I'm able to do that because I use the Hex Flash. Nice little bubble into a hook, into another kill. And this is a great thing about Zoe, is you can just get picks over and over and over again, and you could just do crazy damage like that as well. if you land your bubble, it just makes it so much easier for champions like Blitzcrank or Talon or even Draven or any champion really, just in general, just to do a lot of damage and follow up with a lot of damage as well. You can see bubble again. My Talon can then follow up afterwards. I unfortunately messed up my ulti, but my Q, sorry. My Q actually went on cooldown when I jumped in. Still able to do enough damage with just my auto attack. Another hook here, another kill. This is just a running cycle now of how much damage that you can do. And you can see here that I had to wait a few seconds to actually pick up that ignite, which is really annoying. It's still okay. Still able to get another kill anyway. I have my Hex Flash back up as well that I can use again. And I can just keep using my abilities over and over again. And keep getting kills over and over again. And so can Talon as well, because this champion is also very busted. But like here, I can pick up these summoner spells. But like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. I think it depends on if I have Hex Flash on cooldown or not. Land a bubble here onto Vayne, and Vayne is goodbye. You just land a bubble, and you know when you play ZOE that when you land a bubble, it's done for the enemy team. Like, it's completely done. Unfortunate there. I mean, I don't know why she walked back into that, but she did. Can't do enough damage with the auto attack, unfortunately. Actually really good by Syndra there to actually land the stun. I need to be a little bit careful, but I've Hex Flash to escape, so that's okay. I don't think I used the bubble in time though, so I'm probably going to die here. Yeah. Unfortunately, Olaf can go through bubble, which is pretty annoying, but that's okay. It's okay. I mean, we're 11-3 right now, which is just disgusting, to be honest with you. I mean, I know how strong ZOE is, but just being this far ahead, I mean, Talon can also do that as well, I guess, but being this far ahead with a champion like ZOE makes it super fun to play. Makes it even more fun to play. When you're behind with ZOE, it does get a little bit difficult. Like, say you're playing from your side of the map compared to the enemy side. I believe it does make it a little bit more difficult to try and make plays because you don't really have the vision. You don't have the advantage to play around the enemy's terrain. You have to play around your own terrain and be a bit careful when you jump in. But when you're ahead, it's by far one of the strongest champions, for sure. Infinity Orb completed now. Death Cap completed as well. This game should be over pretty soon. You can see, like, the Hex Flash is just annoying. This bug's just annoying, and that's why I don't really like to do it. I don't really like to build Hex Flash. I think Hex Flash is good in general, but it's just a weird bug at the moment with ZOE, which is kind of annoying. You can see that I'm not joining my team here because I want to try and push out bot lane because we already got the mid inhib. We nearly got the top lane inhib as well, so I'd rather push this bot lane and try and create multiple lanes of pressure throughout the map. Unfortunately, my team, or most of my team, actually died mid lane because they overextended a little bit for the inhib. I mean, we didn't even get the mid lane inhib in the end, so maybe I should have grouped with my team there, but I think overall it's still okay. Talon's just going to jump in. I can see on the mini-map, do a bunch of damage. Jin's here as well. Goodbye, Jin. That's a lot of damage to the Jin. That's a lot of damage to Jin. Nami's like walking up for some reason. I pick up the flash. I'm like, cool, I'm flashing forward. Bane's there as well. Land the bubble. Land the Q afterwards. It's just satisfying to watch, isn't it? You know, even watching this game back, I know what's going to happen, but it's just so incredibly satisfying to watch. I love watching ZOE just completely pop off and just do so much damage. Got a Hex Flash to jump over the wall, so I'm totally fine. Blitzcrank misses a hook, sorry, from basically melee range. That's still okay. Go towards Baron now. I mean, Talon is not here. Talon went back to base, so I kind of don't want to do this, but I'm like, okay, I mean, if you feel confident enough. Not really the best Baron call, to be fair, yeah, especially because of this Jin as well. I'm gonna try and use my Q to actually deal damage to Jin here, but unfortunately wasn't there. I mean, I think if Jin waited with his ulti, he could have actually tried to kill it with his fourth shot. Killed the Baron with the fourth shot. There's definitely a way in which he could have done it. Gonna land my bubble here on the... Oh, this damage. Watch this, by the way. Boom. Oh my god. What is that damage? Can I just rewind that for a second? I mean, I know the game's nearly over, but look at this. I want you to watch this again. Watch how insane this is. The bubble lands. By the way, the bubble still does half the damage. Q, ulti over the wall, and I one-shot both of them in one ability. 2 in 1. That's a strike if I've ever seen one. So much damage. It's so disgusting. Triple kill in the end as well. Can even try and kill the gym. Unfortunately, I'm not able to because of the Draven auto attack. But a triple kill to end this game. Nearly a quadra kill. Basically a quadra kill as well. At this point, I don't want to finish this game. I'm like, yep, give me more kills. I'm like, yep, don't finish the game. I actually want to try to kill, I wanted to try and kill one of them in the base. To wait for the Syndra or the Vayne to come up. Use my Q and then try and jump in. I didn't do it. I thought I could do enough damage, but I couldn't do enough damage in the end. But yeah, Talon's going to end with the minions. And yeah, GG's. Such a fun game to watch. Hopefully you enjoyed watching it as well. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about ZOE. Like I said, very fun champion to play from ahead. Can be a bit difficult when playing from behind. We're going to see my damage in the end as well in this game to see how much damage I did. Eventually, when it calculates all my rewards. Even though rewards don't really do too much. Talon also got MVP. I mean, expected to be fair with how much damage Talon did probably. But yeah, like I even did more damage than Talon. 35,000 damage in what? Like a 15-minute game? Like, so with 2,000 damage a minute on ZOE. Over 2,000 damage a minute. That is just mind-blowing. But anyways, as I mentioned, hopefully you all enjoyed the video. Hopefully you all learned a thing or two about ZOE. Make sure you give the champion a try. She's super fun to play. Make sure you give any AP mages really a try, to be fair, just because how strong the AP items are in general. Hopefully you all enjoyed the gameplay. Stay safe. I'll see you all in the next wild video. Peace.